You know, it's a little bittersweet that we're at this point in the game where we have Michael, Lisa, and Denise left, because I don't think anybody really anticipated that it was going to be those three left over. And a lot of it is because we kept picking off ourselves instead of, coming together or joining together or like making strong alliances and keeping them. We just kept voting out the threats. And so we left these people who really duck and covered the entire game to the end. So I'm not sure if there's a clear winner just yet. I think it's sort of like the best of the worst almost, that, the rest of my jury members and I really truly believe of the final three members of this game. It's really tough for me being a fan of the show, because as a fan sitting home on the couch, you can so easily say that one person deserves to win over another just because of their gameplay or their personal interactions. But it's a completely different thing when you've been in the game and you have these personal relationships that you've built with these people that end up pretty much stabbing you in the back at a certain part. So it's really hard to sort of decide whether you're going to vote for gameplay or you're going to vote for personal relationships. And for me, I spent 19 of my days with Lisa and Michael and only 2 with Denise. So, it would be difficult for me to sort of forgive Michael in what happened between the 2 of us. We sort of made a strong alliance with 2 other people, then we were ousted, so we were sort of in this bottom feeder position constantly. We should have come together. Instead of coming together to save his own behind, he instead knew I was getting voted out, didn't tell me, and didn't help me. So it's almost very difficult for me to forgive that transgression almost and vote for him given that circumstance. It's going to be difficult basically on a personal level with him. Denise, Lisa, and Skupin did one thing right, and that was ducked and covered the entire time. You can't look at those 3 and say one was the strongest competitor, one was the most strategic, one was this, one was that. I mean, Denise was on the bottom, not the bottom, the top of a losing tribe, and then got stuck with another losing tribe. She's been at tribal council every single time, but she's never the target, and she's never the target because she doesn't make herself the target. She makes other people the target. So she keeps her mouth shut, she keeps her head down, and so she's skated by technically under the worst luck there is to have in this game. I don't think anybody's had as worse luck as she has. So I haven't really made up my mind who I'm going to vote for tonight. I wish nothing but the best for all 3, and I'm very, happy and pleased that they made it as far as they did, and other people didn't make it as far as they did. So I feel like all 3 are very deserving in their own way. But at the same time, there is no clear-cut winner for me. I have to account for personal relationships and sort of feeling like I was backstabbed from at least Michael, let alone Lisa, who also promised, not to vote with me, but to at least tell me if I was ever going to be blindsided. So I think personal relationships are going to come into it. I think if someone owns up to, maybe their responsibilities within the game or flip-flopping or this or that, if someone really owns their gameplay, then I think my decision might be a little bit easier. I have a lot in my brain right now that I'm trying to process, and that's being in the game of Survivor. Every time someone comes back every 3 days, you sort of get new information that you haven't heard about before. So I think the same thing's going to happen at Tribal tonight. New information's finally going to get sort of revealed, which might mix up a lot of, questions or comments or people's votes tonight. So I think I'm going to ask things that I want to know and what was very personal to me in the game. And a lot of that was my interaction at Tang Dang. Why didn't Lisa and Michael stick up for me? Why were they afraid of their own shadow and would turn a blind eye to basically me being ostracized or bullied? And let alone me and Michael being in the position together and him also not sticking up for me. So I think a lot of that stuff I still obviously hold resentment to, and feel that was really the demise of Tang Dang. I truly believe in fate in life. And so I think there was a reason why, I applied and I got selected and I came out to play Survivor. And I'm such a great fan that it was the experience of a lifetime. And I'm so grateful to have that experience. Of course, it wasn't what I anticipated or expected. And I certainly didn't make it as far as I hoped to make. But at the same time, I got to play Survivor. I got to play the game that I love so much. So it's enthralling and somewhat disappointing at the same time, but I will never forget it, that's for sure.